Hi, good evening guys. It's 9:15. It's Mark here and we're going to focus on the crypto markets this evening. Um, right here, the chart in front of you, this is Ethereum. It's the futures markets and we're focusing on the commercials positioning. You can see here it says commercial positioning. What I'm looking at here is we have the red line, which is highlighting short contracts, the green line highlighting long contracts, and the net position, which is long contracts minus short contracts. Basically, the way that we can read and interpret this market, in order for there to be a rally here, we're going to have to see commercial entities basically stop selling the market, or not stop selling it, but at least reduce their short position on the market, because essentially this is just going to keep the market price low, and therefore I'm expecting to see a break of, or a retest of, what, 1000 on Ethereum. This is my target price, but I need to see the market break down first, and we'll take a look at the Ethereum chart in a minute. In fact, let's do that first, and then we'll come back and look at Bitcoin. I'm just going to focus on these two major markets today, because obviously they're going to be the highlight, and they'll be pretty much the guidance for where the market's likely to go. So if we just look at the bigger picture here on Ethereum, I'm just going to change the color on my pen so you can see where I'm drawing. Okay, so we've got obviously the point of resistance, second point of resistance, and the way we were looking at this market is we've got consolidation here that's being formed, and essentially we need to see the market either break to the downside and come back down and test the 1000 barrier, or we need to see it push to the upside and have a retest of this structural trend line here, where it could interact with the longer term trend line and the shorter term ascending trend line. So if we come into this blue zone here that's highlighted, we look for some sort of rejection pattern in here. This could be a great place for selling, so mark down around 1500 to 1550 as a potential area to look for shorts. Now on the flip side, as I mentioned, we are bearish crypto until we see certain things change, which will be break of structure on higher time frame. It will be a change of positioning from commercial entities on futures positioning. So right now our stance and our positioning is all going to be around looking for short opportunities. So just below 1400, you can see the horizontal I've just drawn in here, where we've got basically a rejection of the level here, a rejection, again another rejection. We could see the market push into this little barrier here, and if we get some kind of rejection candle here like we did at this point, we could then look for shorting opportunities down into this area here, taking off some of our position, at least half of our position, before we then see either the market break through that support level, at which point it doesn't matter because we've banked profit, and if we do break through, we could then look for a corrective move, so something like this, pulling back into the zone before we have the next sell-off. So there's a couple of solutions, a couple of ideas we can look at, as I mentioned, but our main focal point is looking at areas to sell from. So 1390, 1400, this area here, and then around 1500 to 1550, that area there. That's going to be our two main areas to focus on, looking for shorts. The only other shorting option would be is if we just break through this support level here first, and then we can look for some kind of continuation lower. So that's Ethereum. That's what we're going to look for there. Now remember that Ethereum, Bitcoin, these markets, they're going to be the key drivers. So before we see altcoins have a big rally and a big push, we need to see buyers come into the market, and that's probably going to happen when we see Bitcoin and Ethereum turn positive and break some longer term structure. So longer term structure we could look at here would be a break of this channel, and then it could be a retest of the blue box that we've marked out here. So remember, if we can see this trend line here break, we could look then for a higher low, and that would be a clue for us to be looking for longer term moves. And also, if we see that, that'll probably be a clue that it's time to be looking at altcoins. So let's take a look at another one of our futures markets, which is going to be Bitcoin. Now again, look at the number of short contracts. Again, I'm just going to have to change the color of my pen quickly, because obviously we've gone from a white background to a dark background, so we need to see something lighter. So you don't need to really worry about this at the moment. This up here, it's not an indicator, it's just an index. So when it's at 100, it just means the markets are bullish, and when it's down here at 0, it means effectively bearish, the way that the commercial entities are positioned. So what we're seeing, well, we are seeing that short contracts are on the rise. So effectively, in this instance, your commercial entities, which would be your miners, so to speak, are selling what they have, which probably means that they expect continuation lower. We're seeing also commercial entities, which could be investment firms. We're seeing potentially price to push lower. Now, obviously, I'm not forecasting it going down to 0. I would, if we see a break below this support level here, expect it to be quite a hard move lower, and then we'll probably get a dead cat bounce, and it'll be that dead cat bounce that I'll be looking to get involved in, and that'll be the kickstart potentially to seeing the bull market come back. But as it stands, there's nothing really. We can see that commercial entities, they're not buying the long contracts. The green line here is declining. The short contracts, so people are getting rid of what they have. And they're not buying, so it kind of gives you an inclination of which way the market's going to go without even having to look at price action. So if you don't like to be a seller of the market and you only want to be a buyer, then maybe wait for some clue from commercial entities to start relinquishing, selling some of their short contracts and start buying. So let's take a look at the higher time frame. What do we have and what do we see, and what are going to be the clues? Well, if we just take a look right now, again, I'm just going to have to change the color of my pen quickly, bear with me, so that when we're looking at this, so we've got our corrective pattern here, then we had the breakout, we've had another corrective pattern here, then a breakout, another corrective pattern here, and then a breakout, correction, and a breakout. Now we've come back up into this area here, and we're consolidating. So 18,000 barrier here is paramount that this holds. If not, then I expect to see a strong push to the downside, and that's what I'm forecasting, to be fair. I'm forecasting a strong push to the downside, but it doesn't mean I'm just going to jump in and sell the market right now. I'd be very, very interested to look for sells underneath 18,000, sort of 300, 18,400. I'd be interested in looking at sells below there. But where could it go to? Where can we start looking at potential support barriers? So let's just bring in our cursors and just start throwing in a few areas of potential interest. Well, we've got some area around here, around 12,000, and then maybe around 10,000. So 12 and 10,000 are looking like potential flush points where we could see the market just have, you know, these wild moves where it just basically kicking out everyone's everyone's stop losses. But you know, on the flip side, if we do start to see some market bullish sentiment, then what I'm going to be looking for is price to get above, say, 24,000 here. We could look at a short-term trend line here and price to get above that and a pullback and trade it into there if you're looking more short-term. But I think realistically, the bull market isn't going to kick in until we get above 24,000. So if you're going to trade in between current price and 24,000, just remember it's kind of a day trading position. It's not really what I'd be saying right now. The market has turned and sentiment is definitely bullish. So on that note, guys, I'm going to stop there. I don't feel like there's any point in looking at altcoins because we need to see the sentiment shift here right now. We could break last week's high. If we do, then we're probably going to push up in towards the previous couple of weeks high, which would be around sort of 22.7. But put the barometer, the 25,000 as right. 25,000 would be the line in the sand. If we get above 25,000, then we can start thinking about this market shifting sentiment, and we can start looking at a potential bull run coming back into the crypto space. Okay, that's it from me, Mark, tonight. If you did like the content, please give us a thumbs up, a like, you know the score. Share it with any fellow traders, and we'll be back with some more crypto news next week. Tomorrow is going to be indexes, so we'll be taking a look at global indexes and seeing which way we can find some potential opportunities on those markets. Are we seeing a return to bullish sentiment, or is this just a relief rally in a bear market? Watch tomorrow and we'll give you those tips. Good night.